What's up, guys? Welcome back to the MLG Studios here in New York City. You're watching the Winter Exhibition. My name is axeltoss. I am joined by axslav. It's been a weekend since we've casted. A lot of exciting stuff has been happening, GSL Pro League. But now we're back to this special tournament, of course, that we're having involving the losers from round one of the Winter Championship event. They're trying to, they have a second chance to win some money. First place gets $1,000, second place gets 500. Axslav, how you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent.
Good.
Excellent. So many great players here. The bracket has been stacked. Players have been getting knocked off every single day at last week, and this week we're going to conclude the tournament. Of course, before we can get to that finals that'll be on Friday, we have to finish those quarterfinal matches.
Of course, let's take a look at that updated bracket. Of course, already in the semifinal are going to be Marine King and Bly. That match is going to happen on Wednesday. I'm fairly certain. Today is going to be Sase versus herO, best of 5. All these are best of 5s. Creator versus thorzane will be tomorrow. So plenty of exciting matches still yet to come for you watching at home. So if you missed anything, it's okay. 5 p.m. Eastern every single day. We have action going on again. Today herO Sase, tomorrow Creator thorzane. Wednesday semifinal A, Thursday semifinal B, concluding on Friday with the final of the Winter Exhibition, where the winner will take home $1,000. Second place will get 500. And I can't quite, I mean, we were talking about a little bit earlier, who do we think is going to win this thing? And I still think it's up for grabs. There's still 3 foreigners in this thing, and there's also 3 Koreans.
Yes, that's right. Of course, the foreigners being Bly, thorzane, and Sase. And 2 of those players, Sase and thorzane, they're coming up today and tomorrow. And these are guys who train in Korea. thorzane right now is not there, but I don't actually know exactly.
Sase might be in Taiwan.
Okay, but both players have spent extensive times in Korea training under that regimen, so they know how Koreans practice and play, and they kind of understand what it takes to beat these guys.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's Protoss, Zerg, and a Terran foreigners. It's actually pretty cool. And then for the Koreans, it's Terran, Protoss.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting to see what happens. Today is going to be Sase versus herO, and I'm really excited for this one. Of course, Sase actually had a tweet. I don't know if it was this past weekend or last week, where he was talking about where he's going to go for WCS. And he's like, I want to, they're saying, oh, why aren't they going to stay in Korea? And Sase said a tweet or something like, I play to face the best. He doesn't necessarily care about money. And that really kind of sent a wave throughout the community. Sase, a really cool guy. He really commits a lot of his time to just becoming a much better player. He cares a lot about his skill, a lot about his play. And he's a really inspiring guy. And of course, herO, he's one of my favorite guys to watch, at least in the Pro League side of things.
He was your first pick for that Pro League draft, I believe.
He was. Yeah. And you know, I could say, like, who wouldn't have picked him in my position? Of course, people don't know what I'm talking about necessarily, but herO, definitely a very good player, very exciting to watch. He's also got a pretty cool personality too. He's pretty well known for that match against Stefano or something earlier, where Stefano typed something like good luck or something, and that was disallowed, and he was about to get disqualified, and then herO said something like, he said like essentially the same thing, so that Stefano wouldn't get in trouble. herO was smiling and stuff, so he has a really cool personality as well. Not to be confused with Liquid herO. Of course, they do have the same name. Pretty interesting distinction is that the O in CJ herO's name is capitalized, whereas for Liquid herO, I think it's the H.
Yes.
Yeah. So for people wondering how they can clarify that, but we can see his major tournament record results. He got 4th at WCS Asia, and that was a pretty stacked tournament. So Sase versus herO PvP should be fairly good. Best of 5. I'm gonna be writing stuff down because I need some PvP builds.
Yeah, PvP is a really volatile matchup right now. There's a lot of different theories on how to open it.
Yeah.
You know, everyone talks about the late game. Oh, you get Void Rays and you get Storm, and then maybe eventually Tempest or something. But the openings really set that pace for the matchup, and they're still, I think, not really set in stone yet. At the pro level.
For sure. I don't think they're not going to be set in stone for a good amount of time too.
They'll be set in like mud or something.
Yeah.
You can rearrange it a little bit as you get more experience.
Heart of the Storm, it's a brand new game, and I know people are going to be watching, looking for new builds, and hopefully these guys can present some of those. Of course, Sase, one of the most creative players out there. herO, again, one of the best Pro League players, had a phenomenal record in the last round of Pro League. That being said, shall we jump into game number 1?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's start game number 1.
It's going to be on Akalon Wastes. Newer-ish map, but everyone's starting to get a feel of it because we've seen it a lot in a lot of tournaments, but it was introduced with Heart of the Swarm. And it's a very, I've enjoyed, whenever I've played on this map, I've enjoyed my experience, and I haven't seen a lot of complaints from pros. It seems like a very good map overall. But let's go to introduce the players. Top left-hand location, we have the Red Protoss player who recently joined Team Fnatic. Spent a lot of time in Taiwan playing for Gamma Bears in the TSL. He is Sase, who hails from Sweden. One of the really good Swedish Protoss players. Swedish players in general are very good at this game. Of course, his opponent in the bottom right-hand location. The Korean from Pro League on Team CJ Entis. He is herO. One of the, probably, do they have MVPs in Pro League? Do they do it by round? Because I know Thorzane won.
They have in the past. Yeah, that was
Thorzane definitely won an MVP. I think that was round 1. So they do it by round.
1 or 2.
So I think last round, herO definitely, if he didn't get it, he should have been highly considered. Because he did a great job there, of course.
He did.
For those of you viewers who don't know about Pro League, it's a tournament over in Korea. It's team-based, where it's pretty much the best Korean teams in the planet right now. Of course, those Pro League teams, you know, CJ, Entis, KT Roster, Samsung Con, Woonjin Stars, Team 8. I'm missing 1 or 2.
STX.
EGTL, STX. Very good teams over there. And herO is probably considered the ace player for CJ Entis. So he's one of the best that Korea has to offer right now. And I feel like Sase is definitely going to be the underdog. But I also feel like Sase can maybe kind of close the gap a little bit because of his creativity, his ability to throw his opponent off guard, his ability to make those awesome decisions under pressure. And we'll have to definitely keep an eye on that to see what Sase ends up doing here, because if this goes late game, I feel like herO is going to have the advantage.
Definitely, when you're talking about like a Pro League Korean player, the advantages they have are, one, their mechanics are absolutely insane.
Yes.
So, and the longer the game goes, typically, the more relevant or the more effective better mechanics are, up to a certain point. Once it gets to a very super late game, then it's all about just positioning and handling a single engagement, which is a little bit different from the multitasking that's so prevalent in the mid game. The other thing that the Pro League players are very, very good at is preparing builds to defeat certain opponents. Now,
yes.
That's not going to be as useful against Sase, because as you said, he's unpredictable, he's very creative. So herO's not going to really be able to utilize a build designed to take Sase out. He's going to have to play very generic style, and maybe Sase can figure out some way to exploit that.
Neither of these guys has scouted each other just yet. Of course, it is a 2-player map, and if we're talking about PvP and whether or not you scout, it's interesting to consider what you're actually going to look for, because generally, you know, you're going to be looking for the proxy shenanigans, you know, the Forge, if you're scouting early. But with the introduction of the Mothership Core in Heart of the Swarm, that's less of a threat. So what do you think about the importance of scouting in PvP in Heart of the Swarm?
It's definitely a big factor, but it can be very hard to scout, because an early probe scout won't really tell you much more than where their location is. I mean, if you're doing something like a 4-gate, you can tell about a Chrono Boost allocation and of course, a number of pylons and stuff. But in general, most of the decisions in PvP on the way to build is going to progress will happen after the Stalker chases your probe out of their base. So the real scouting comes in with the gateway pressure, exactly what we see herO doing right now, moving out with that 1 Stalker in front of Sase's base, and there's a Mothership Core and 2 more Stalkers coming in to back it up. Now, the other way to scout instead of gateway pressure is by sneaking in a probe when your opponent goes for that gateway pressure. That's what we see Sase doing here. He's got his probe here hidden, he's building pylons on herO's side of the map, and he's going to try to sneak in and see if herO is expanding, and also to be able to warp in those Dark Templar closer to his opponent.
herO coming forward with 3 Stalkers and a Mothership Core. Sase might be a little bit vulnerable. He's spending a lot of resources on advancing his tech. He has a Dark Shrine underway after that Twilight Council. 3 Stalkers just going to charge up the ramp here, targeting down the Sentry. The Sentry laying down 1 Force Field, but it's a little bit late. 3 Stalkers able to get up. 1 Stalker going down. 1 Zealot is going to fall as well. Sase forced to pull probes here. Behind this, keep in mind, does herO have detection? I'm not sure he does, so...
Just a Stargate, so he's going to have to make an Oracle, or those DTs are going to do critical damage. Question is, how much damage is Sase going to take? He's already lost 4 probes, and more are going to go down. He really didn't want to miss that force field on his ramp. With 4 warp gates, he's not going to die to this pressure. But he has taken some damage, and if herO can defend the DTs, he's going to be ahead, but that's a big if.
Oh, 2 DTs being warped in. The Sentry's on the high ground. It needs to do a third on the force field. No, it's not going to happen. And herO's going to back away. 2 DTs. What are they going to target? The Stargate has to make an Oracle so that herO can have that detection.
There we go.
Oracle's in production, and Sase is choosing not to target that down, instead going after probes.
I think that's a smarter decision. Stargate, of course, with you know, plenty of life. It's unclear if he can get it with 2 DTs. There's also a trick that you can do. You can often kind of glitch your DTs off that target with your probes if you mineral walk at just the right spot. So Sase is playing it safer, saying, you know what? The Orca will come out if I spread my DTs away around. You know, I've already done a lot of damage. He's not mining. Meanwhile, I can just progress to Blink. I've got 4 gateways. He has 2. And eventually mine as the game goes on.
How often do you see a DT lifted in the air? Not too often.
Not too often, but hero's going to do, he's going to grab another DT here with, of course, the Oracle revealing it into stock. But DT is getting more and more probe kills, even when it was revealed and being focused now. 2 more probe kills were taken out. That's going to relatively even up that worker's kill tab, but remember that herO was not mining for about a good 40 to 50 in-game seconds. So that's going to put Sase at economic advantage. And we don't really see that right now in the food supply, but where you see it is the fact that he has a Nexus being built, he has 4 gateways done, he has Blink on the way, whereas herO doesn't really have anything to compete with that when you're talking about infrastructure, right? There's no tech besides the Stargate. There's only 2 gates and a 3rd on the way, and there's no Nexus being built.
Of course, he could try to go into, you know, potentially Phoenix production and try to get some harassment done, but with Sase, you know, he knows that. With that DT harassment, he's able to scout the Stargate, obviously, and he's able to prepare. He's got Blink on the way, so it's a tough call for herO to say, all right, I'm just going to make some Phoenixes and go for some harassment because, again, Sase is going to be completely prepared for that. So instead, not making any Stargate units beyond the initial Phoenix, beyond the initial Oracle, going to be expanding behind this, adding on a robotics facility. And, you know, Sase is just going to now be finishing up Blink. So do you think he has a timing behind Blink that he could potentially utilize, or is he going to stay defensive?
Well, if herO did decide to go for that Phoenix play, there would definitely be a timing, as, you know, sentries can defend your ramp pretty easily, but if you want to defend that low ground Nexus, you're going to need somebody that can fight the Blink Stalkers straight on. And that's where he was going straight for that robotic space. Oh, another DT in the main doing some more damage.
Yeah, this is a pretty annoying part if you're going Stargate, if you're relying on the Oracle. The Oracle's going to run out of energy, so after that first Invision, it's going to be tough to deal with the DTs,
well, the Oracle was across the map. It was getting ready to counterattack and get some probe kills, but unfortunately, being across the map means that DT is doing massive economic damage. The probes still aren't being able to mine. The DT's hiding now in the corner of the base. herO is going to go back and regain mining, but during that time it wasn't mining. Sase jumped up 15 feet ahead of him.
Sase almost sniped the Oracle with the Stalkers. The Stalker's now going to target down this Nexus, and herO, he might end up losing this. Going to have to rely on Photon to overcharge, bringing 3 Stalkers down to low ground. Oracle going to have to help defend as well. There's the Photon overcharge. The Stalker's going to blink forward, but herO just sneaking out of that vision by staying on the high ground. But herO going to try to engage, just trying to press down the ramp with the Stalkers and the Sentry. The Nexus getting targeted down. The Cannon doing a ridiculous amount of damage to these Stalkers. The Nexus, it looks like it will fall, and Sase, he's going to be up in expansion. herO's going to be in a little bit of trouble in this game so far. Oh, nice Sentry snipe.
herO's in so much trouble. It's so unfortunate his Oracle was across the map when that DT came in because he wasn't able to warp in more gateway units, right? And he had the 3 gateways, but he didn't have any income to continue warping in. Now Sase, of course, is going to back out, not willing to risk an engagement, knowing he's significantly ahead with having the extra base. Sase is going to just, you know, go up to a standard 2-base mixed competition, adding in his own robotics bay. It's really on to herO to try to get something done.
Yeah, it's such a tough situation because as time goes on, that Nexus is going to be more and more delayed, and Sase is going to pull further and further ahead with that superior economy. Sase continuing to add on those probes. He's up. Looks like 42 to 30 in supply. Meanwhile, we have an Oracle from herO advancing. Nope, that is a Phoenix heading to the main base. I thought that was an Oracle based on my minimap, but I think the Oracle might have been sniped away by Sase a little bit earlier. Yes, it looks like it was. But yeah, Sase is just going to be progressing his tech, adding on charge here, trying to stay safe from any potential counterattacks from herO.
As soon as charge completes, of course, Sase is going to have...
Sorry.
Warp Prism almost escaping now, and oh no, it is going to get taken out.
Wow.
And that was herO's one chance to try to equalize the economies with that Zealot counterattack. Right now, the only thing keeping herO in this game is those Immortals saying, you know what, Blink Stalkers, stay back, let me defend my section of the base. But as soon as charge gets up, Sase can warp in plenty of Zealots to help buffer his Stalkers. Yeah. And with his gigantic food advantage, hero's going to have to come up with something very creative in order to defend a counterattack. Maybe he can make a building wall, use some photon cannons, because as far as sheer numbers go, he's going to be definitely behind.
Sase trying to press forward a little bit. Nothing There's no real reason not to do something like this, because again, you could just blink away your stalkers if they get low on those shields. As long as they don't lose that oh so important health, you're going to be fine. And as the game goes along, I feel like stalkers might become less valuable, at least in PvP. So Sase trying to continue to abuse the fact that he has those highly mobile blink stalkers and trying to get some damage done. And herO, he's trying to find a way. All right, how do I come back into this? Tries to make a War Prism, tries to send it across the map, but Sase is completely on top of that, so he's not going to be successful in that regard. So I feel like herO, he's going to try to stay defensive, stay on 2 bases, trying to hold this natural expansion, and then just play for the late game and hope Sase makes a mistake in the near future.
I think Sase is waiting to get an Archon too to help deal with force fields to make his attack. His stalkers are poised, ready. They can blink in the lane with that observer giving high ground vision. And herO, everything he has is defending the natural.
Gosh. A little bit of a missed blink there from Sase. 4 stalkers unable to make it to the high ground, going to target down that forge. But herO going to back up with 3 stalkers and sentry and 2 zealots. That's not going to be enough though, I don't think. The Guardian Shield being deployed. Sase going to try to target that down. Zealots trying to wail away at those stalkers as well, but Sase looks like he's going to be just fine in that regard. Oh no, missed micro there from Sase, and that's exactly what herO needs. He needs Sase to make these cost-inefficient trades so he can slowly pull himself back into the game. But now Sase adding on DTs. I bet those are about to be made into Archons. He has about a 40 supply advantage, and he might try to press and do his opponent's natural.
He just sniped the observer. He sniped herO's single observer. herO has no detection. 4 DTs are going to do massive damage. You're just going to go straight for that Nexus. What can herO do? He has to defend a Nexus, but he can't. There's DTs there, and he can't see them.
Wow, at first I thought Sase was going to make those into Archons, but no, sniping away the observer, preventing his opponent from being able to see the DTs, and now they're going to start doing a ridiculous amount of damage. herO trying to retreat into his main base. The natural is all but dead. Probes going to try to run into the main base, but behind this, Sase is still on 2 bases. He's up 125 to 35 in supply, and there is the GG. Sase taking game number 1 in this best of 5. Very well played.
Very well played by Sase. Of course, there the key thing was that DT early on, doing so much economic damage. And in PvP, if you're not mining, you can't use those warp gates. If you can't use the warp gates, you're going to have less units than your opponent. Sase knew that, hit the timing with the blink stalkers just right, killed that expansion, and from there on out, I think it's just too far ahead. Like,
once you lose an expansion in PvP, it's so important, especially considering it's a mirror matchup. His opponent literally had 2 bases and 50 harvesters to herO's 1 base and 30 harvesters, and herO is, trying to actually break out of his main base to take that natural expansion. But Sase, again, doing a great job denying that earlier expansion, and then, of course, handling himself just fine. You remember, herO was able to sneak in 3 stalkers up the ramp past the sentry. That's a very scary moment as a Protoss, but herO unable to identify the DT play in time. Because imagine if he had that Oracle a little bit earlier, perhaps those
could have been a very different game.
Right, perhaps those DTs don't do that much damage. So PvP, very interesting matchup. We're already seeing unfold in this best of 5, of course. Sase, the Foreigner hope, can he take down herO? He's currently up 1-0 in this best of 5, but herO still has some time to work with. Guys, stay tuned. Game 2 coming up.